going on, everybody? GZTV back with another video, and we are back with another review of The Boys. It's been quite some time, but I've been watching this series. We are on the 4th episode of Season 2. We are slowly kind of progressing through this show, taking breaks every now and then. There's not a whole lot of content on this show. I mean, the episodes are like an hour long each, but there's only 3 seasons compared to Breaking Bad having 5 seasons, and we're already on Season 4 of Breaking Bad. So these two series will probably get over around the same time here on the channel. Might move on to a little bit of Game of Thrones, maybe some Better Call Saul, maybe some El Camino. I have a couple series in mind. I could go back and rewatch some classics, The Walking Dead, D100. Those are a couple series I've been thinking about rewatching. Yeah, nothing like it in the world. Here is the episode from The Boys. We're going to be going over kind of the plot, and we're going to be giving an honest review. Shout out to the Review Geek and Greg Wheeler, as always, giving us fantastic articles to read from and have some discussion points from. Following what happened with Stormfront, Episode 4 of The Boys Season 2 begins with big changes on the horizon. We see some revolutions in the Seven. Numerous reports paint her as the hero, which certainly doesn't go down well with Kimiko or Homelander, who stew with rage. So these two are against Stormfront. She has a lot of antagonists ahead of her. She has some probably obstacles. She has some hurdles she's going to have to get over if she wants to continue being this hero, if she wants to kind of maintain this, because people are mad at her, and she doesn't know it. Eventually, Homelander leaves Vought and visits Madeline, who feeds him milk. Only this obviously isn't our Madeline, who's actually a doppelganger taking on her form. So this doppelganger guy's been kind of appearing in and out throughout this series, and he happens to be Madeline Stillwell, trying to give Homelander some emotional relief, trying to give him some love, some care, some comfort, some support. He's going through some shit right now. He was seen as the hero of the Vought for so long, and all of a sudden Stormfront just swoops it from him with one big kill on a soup terrorist. Or a villain, whatever. Butcher, meanwhile, receives his next assignment from Mallory. So they show up to the memorial wall where 59 people died from the terrorist or whatever, and he gets an assignment. She provides information about a second-tier soup known as Liberty. So Butcher's going to spread the word to the rest of the team, and they're going to go over there, not him. Only this is complicated further by Butcher learning that Becca is alive and being held in a heavily fortified Vought compound. So there's a bridge that goes over to this separate Vought compound from obviously the skyscraper that's in the city. Becca's alive. He probably knew that by now, but he didn't know where she was. This splits the team up, with the Butcher heading off alone to find Becca, while Mother's Milk takes charge of the operation in finding Liberty. So Butcher's like, yeah, you're in charge. You got to take Huey over to Liberty. Take someone with you, Annie feels Homelander's wrath as he confronts her about hesitating with Huey. So Homelander's taking his anger out from Stormfront to Annie, aka Starlight. So obviously he's not mad at Starlight necessarily for not taking out Huey. He's more mad about Stormfront still taking his kill, pretty much. It is what he's getting mad at, and I think it's kind of funny. This episode was really indulging. I was really into this episode more than most of the other episodes in the series. I really liked this one. There's a lot of storylines, a lot of cool developments that could lead into some great things in this season. Thankfully, she manages to save herself and act convincing enough that Homelander doesn't think she's lying. I mean, would Homelander actually kill her? Probably. I mean, he's actually the biggest villain in the series, which is the irony of the whole thing. What this series is kind of building up on. Not long after, she meets Huey, and the pair talk about the Compound V situation, so kind of some personal stuff. Obviously, everyone kind of knows what's going on. Yeah, after the run-in with Homelander, Huey convinces Mother's Milk to let her run with them. So Huey's like, look, Annie, aka Starlight, she's Starlight. She's very troubled, Homelander almost just killed her. She needs to come with us. She needs to stay away from Homelander. She needs to take a break from her job. Meanwhile, A-Train is booted out of the Seven. Out of nowhere, A-Train, boom, out of the Seven. He's none too happy, obviously, about it, but given Homelander's influence here, there's not much he can do about it. Homelander is still the leader. He still determines a lot of the big moves that happen in this organization. So kicking out A-Train is his choice. Managing the members is his call. At the end of the day, they take the heroes to him, and if he likes them, he'll let them in. Elsewhere, Annie, Huey, and Mother's Milk head out on the road. Despite witnessing a car crash, them being undercover means they're unable to help much and are forced to flee. So, obviously Starlight has Annie. She's Annie here. She's not Starlight. She's a regular civilian going through the motions here. She's really tempted. She has the superhero instincts to save someone, but she's like, oh shit, we're undercover. We can't get caught. If I get caught saving someone again, I'm probably going to get kicked out of the 7. It's probably going to be revealed that I'm rolling with a bunch of villains to the Vought when they're not really villains. They're actually the heroes in this story, and that's not going to be good. As they hold up at a motel that night, Annie and Huey wind up sleeping together, so obviously their relationship is just fluctuating. It's going great. They get some bonding time together. Huey really liked this, I'm sure. Butcher meets Becca under the cover of darkness and promises to save her from her predicament. He's like, I promise, I will get you out of here. I will be the tough guy I usually am. That is really what Butcher has been developing himself to be in this series. As they sit together, they discuss their differing fates. They have a talk. They go over what's been going on in their lives. Becca and Butcher really reconcile here as well, kind of like what I was talking about in Breaking Bad there a couple moments ago. In the morning, though, Becca decides against leaving with Butcher. She's like, I can't do this. If they figure out I'm gone, and if they figure out I'm with you, they're going to kill you. They can't risk anything. She knows he'll do everything he can to get rid of Ryan. So, Butcher's like, oh, Ryan's a soup. I want to kill him. I'm against soups. He doesn't like the soups. Given Ryan is what Homelander is after, he doesn't want to take any chances. So yeah. In a genius topical move, Homelander and Queen Maeve take to the news and discuss the current diversity of heroes. So, a lot of manipulation, a lot of toxicity in this interview given with Homelander and Queen Maeve, a lot of lies and whatnot. Homelander jumps at a chance to throw Maeve under the bus and outs her relationship with Elena on live TV. So that's kind of the last resort thing. Homelander's like, oh shit, Queen Maeve's with Elena? We might as well just give it away. She is a lesbian. We have diversity. We are with the LGBTQ community. Unfortunately, all Maeve can do is smile awkwardly. She's not going to interrupt Homelander. She's not going to ruin their reputation. She's not going to oh, you're lying. Homelander would probably kill her right after the show. He takes it to the extreme, really. Backstage, the duo talk, and Homelander wishes her well in a relationship. So Homelander's forcing her into a relationship. He's like, you better be doing well in this relationship so it looks good on television. It's kind of some crazy shit. Elsewhere, Stormfront riles up a group of protesters against Vought. She's like, look, these people are fucking horrible, and I'm going to help this revolution. I'm going to be a hero, an actual hero this time. Kimiko shows up with murderous intent, but Frenchie manages to stop her from doing something stupid, causing a riot. As she watches in disdain, Stormfront takes to the skies and flies away, so Kimiko could probably find her in a bad spot and take her out, but now is not the time. She's in a crowd of people. Meanwhile, Huey, Mother's Milk, and Annie make it to their contact's house finally. After an impassioned speech about his father, MM manages to get them inside to hear the woman's story. So we kind of learn some stuff about Mother's Milk. I love when shows do this. Good opportunity to learn about Mother's Milk's childhood, kind of what his father did, how he died. It turns out Liberty killed her brother. So yeah. The woman. Even worse, she's actually Stormfront. Liberty is actually Stormfront. It's kind of some crazy shit we find out. A storm is certainly brewing, though. Homelander heads in to see Stormfront and the duo and discuss their changing roles within the 7. So finally, Homelander makes this big confrontation towards Stormfront. Look, you can't be the leader here. This is my stuff. Through a tirade of memes, Stormfront seems to be growing an army of fans loyal to her case. She's going against Homelander. Homelander's PR-driven stunts just can't compete, but he refuses to take on her help. He's like, I'm not going to take your advice. I'm a prideful man. Annie and Huey make it back home and go their separate ways, so they make it home successfully from this trip. Interspersed around these scenes, this episode, are various interviews in front of a camera, which is very interesting, and we find out what it is at the end. I kind of wanted to find it out ever since I started watching the episode. I was like, what are these interviews about? It turns out Deep is behind the wheel, and he's had to choose a wife to rebrand his image and get back in the 7, so he needs a wife. He needs a trope. He needs something to get him back in the 7, and Carol and Eagle, the guys he kind of met after his whole depressing state. Yeah, only it's hardly something chosen by him, as this is all a PR stunt. Carol's like, I'm going to choose your wife. I'm going to choose what's best for marketing. Later that evening, Homelander returns to the doppelganger.